Calculating position size. I'm looking at a Doge trade right now, and essentially, what I would do is I would take my entry, my target, realistic target, not like Hail Mary target, right? Um, Figure out the big thing here is not this green part, right? When I look at it, yeah, I think this monthly VWAP can hit. I would front run it in terms of the 0.13. But what I'm looking for here is my invalidation, right? Uh, Ideally, my invalidation would be somewhere down here. That's 6%. That's a pretty massive invalidation if you're taking this on 100x or 50x on BingX, and the leverage is great because it allows you to use less capital. But when I'm taking a trade like this, if I'm using 100x and a 50% stop loss, I'm using a very small percentage of my account, right? So one option you have is you could say, all right, well, if it goes below this level, which is a 2% drop, then I think it's likely to come lower, and maybe I can even get a better entry. So for me, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking at a roughly 2% loss for a potential 27% gain. But the reality is that by the time I get to this spot right here, by the time I get to the 0.11, I'm out at least 50%, if not more. So the reality is that this is kind of what I'm looking at, right? This would be the moon bag. So it's 8% gain, 2% risk. It's 4-1. I'm okay with that. Then you have to figure out what's your risk. So if you have, just for example, if you have a $100 account, you're willing to risk 1%, then you have to figure out a 10% of port, 10% loss of that is a 1% loss, and then you come in and extrapolate the leverage that you would use. So if we take, for example, a $100 port and we enter here, and our stop loss is going to be this 0.997 level. I go through and I check. So on 50x, for example, I'm liquidated. On 20x, I'm not liquidated, but I'm taking way more loss. And on 10x, I'm looking at about a 40% loss. So essentially what I would do there is say, okay, I gotta reduce my position size. Now I'm looking at putting in 5% of my account at 10x to then have a 20% stop loss, and then there's only a 1% drawdown on the account max. Now, sometimes when you look at my trades, you say, well, you're taking a 100x trade and a 30% stop loss. Yeah, but I'm using less than 1% of my port, right? So it is something that you have to consider, because there's no way around the fact that you're going to take losses, especially when you're trading something like this. And so if you're not taking these things into consideration, really you're just risking way too much. So you look at the trade, you look at the invalidation, then you extrapolate the leverage and position size, and it's just the calculation because you can put more money in and less leverage, less money in and more leverage, and then you just have to figure that out.